Hello, guys. It's a great pleasure to be here, and thanks for staying so late. And I know everyone's kind of hungry. So my speech is pretty short. I think everyone said what I wanted to say. So I think most of you guys are pretty advanced users of Binance already. I want to share two things that Binance are no longer just are. So if you complete this sentence, Binance is no longer just a crypto-to-crypto exchange. Binance is now a fiat-to-crypto exchange as well. Right? So this is one point I want to drive home. Many people misunderstand us because we started as a crypto-to-crypto exchange. Many people think we're always a crypto-to-crypto exchange, and many people are surprised that we're adding fiat. But whatever assets we're trading is actually less important than what the mission we want to accomplish. The original mission we want to accomplish, and still the current mission right now, is to enable access to crypto. So in 2017, Bitcoin is enough to enable access to other cryptocurrencies. But today, I think there's a lot more people who still don't have crypto and they're holding fiat. So this is why in the last little while, we've added a lot of fiat currencies. So from the very beginning, we built from our first one, Binance Uganda. I actually met somebody from Uganda today. So they actually flew from Uganda here. So thanks for coming. I don't know if they're still in the audience. I can't see with this light. Then we did with Binance Jersey. Of course, we have Binance Singapore, which Wei just talked about. And we, of course, launched Binance US. I think there's a lot of guys from the audience from the US. And on top of that, we actually also launched P2P trading for China. So if you're coming from China or if you hold RMB, now you can trade on Binance.com using RMB. So this is all things that we have enabled in the last little while. And on top of that, we have also enabled the Russian ruble, the euro, the KZT, Kazakhstan. I actually don't know what that dollar is called, the UAH, and RMB. Yeah. So there's so many fiat around the world. I actually don't know all of them. So, but I want you to take home that Binance is no longer just a crypto-to-crypto exchange. We still do crypto-to-crypto, but we also do fiat-to-crypto. And I foresee that from the initial data we have gathered, the fiat is growing very quickly. So that means there's very strong demand. There's pent-up demand for people to come in. The other thing that we're no longer just is what? Binance is no longer just a spot exchange. Thank you. Yeah. So Binance also have derivatives now. And we have some of the highest leverage in the industry. Right now, we only have one instrument, but soon that will change. And I think there was a question in the chat group already. We will enable multiple contracts, isolated margin, and cross-collateral. So what those means, number one, multiple contracts is easy. You'll be able to trade futures on Ethereum, BNB, and potentially other contracts. And isolated margin means that each position have its own margin. So one bad trade does not drain your entire account. And cross margin means that you can use a different asset for collateral to trade futures on something else. For example, you could use BNB as the collateral while you trade BUSD against BTC. So that will soon be available on Binance Futures. So those are the really two key messages I want people to bring home. Is that number one, Binance is no longer just a crypto-to-crypto exchange, and we do fiat. Binance is no longer just a spot exchange, and we do derivatives. So I do want to leave a lot of time later on to the AMA, but before I jump into the questions, I want to welcome a very special guest that we're privileged here with us today. His name is Phil Chen, and he's the decentralized chief officer of HTC, the mobile phone maker. So let's give a big round of applause to Phil Chen. Yeah. Phil, welcome.
Hi, thank you. I'm really excited to be here today. My name is Phil Chen. We're here to announce something very exciting today between the HTC Exodus and Binance. Just a little history of HTC. We started out in 2008. We built the first Android phone. And the reason we did that was we believed in the promise of the internet. We believed in open source, right? Android was the first open source mobile smartphone. And as we all know, that whole movement got hijacked into the big companies today owning your data, right? And 10 years later, 2018, we launched the first Exodus, which is a smartphone with a built-in hardware wallet that empowers you to own your private keys. Now, there's something fascinating, I think, in this page because, we launched the Android smartphone 2008 October. We thought we were pushing this new internet, this open internet, open knowledge sharing. But then there was, of course, this other revolution that happened, January 2009, called Bitcoin. And Bitcoin, of course, as you all know, probably the reason why you're here is Bitcoin, of course, was the true heir to this open source, open internet kind of revolution. And of course, Bitcoin, what that means, it started out as, this is the Genesis block. Bitcoin is all about owning your own private keys. And so that whole idea of owning your private keys is the foundation in which we built the HTC Exodus. We simply built a hardware secure enclave that protects your private keys. Why is that important? It seems quite trivial, right? A hardware wallet built into a phone that protects your private keys, but it actually unlocks a whole new world, right? We call it a Swiss bank in your pocket. Because, what we've done is the Android world, which connects to the internet, of course, and it's prone to many kinds of attacks, is unsecure, right? And we've built something, a secure element within the phone, and it's hardware protected that protects your private keys. That, of course, allows you to own your Bitcoin, that allows you to own in the future, your data. At the end of the day, it's about owning your money and owning your data, the two biggest markets moving forward. And this idea of universal basic finance, we believe that when you start owning your private keys, it gives you the power to do what banks do today. So what does a bank do? If you look at what a modern traditional bank does, it does three main things, right? It looks after your money, right? It helps you pay for things, right? And it allows you to make loans, borrow money, lend more money. Right now, we can do that all on our phone, right? What we've done with protecting your private keys, right? It protects your private keys and hence protects your crypto currencies. Number two, you can pay for things, right? I think CZ talked about our devices right now can become point of sale systems, right? You want to pay for things. Merchants are starting to use wallets as point of sale systems. And now with DeFi, right? You can start loaning and start borrowing. And so once you do all of that, you become your own bank, right? You become a self-banking system, a self-custodial, self-banking, be your own bank system. And so, of course, the next question is what happens when you lose your phone, right? We've also thought through this issue, right? When you lose your phone, what happens to your private keys? We built something called social key recovery, right? And what social key recovery is, when you set up your wallets, we'll split your keys. We use something called Shamir secret sharing. We'll split your keys into 5 different parts. You share it with 5 of your friends and family. And so when you lose your phone, you go to your closest friends and family, one world peace kind of way to recover your keys. And we've gotten, not just, we got in the crypto world to get excited. Vitalik was really excited about this. Charlie Lee was really excited about it. And then last month in Berlin, we also launched the next Exodus 1S. And what's exciting about the Exodus 1S is we started out by empowering you to own your private keys, but now we're also the first blockchain phone to allow you to run a full Bitcoin node. And this is significant, right? Because once you can run a full Bitcoin node, you can verify transactions, you can relay transactions yourself, you can contribute to securing the Bitcoin blockchain, right? And it's all around this, again, this principle of owning your private keys, but also just being self-custodial and empowering yourself to do all the financial things a modern bank does. So that's what a full Bitcoin node, that's the Exodus 1S. I won't go into this now, but right now, like in this particular phone, right on the phone, sorry, here, I'll show you real quick. I'm running actually right now, you can see 100%. It is running a full Bitcoin node. The full Bitcoin node is 267 gigs at this moment. The whole entire history of the Bitcoin blockchain ledger is on and runs on mobile. And so this is what I'm here to announce today, right? We're launching a new Exodus 1 Binance edition. And thanks to CZ with his support, it's, as you all here are for, it's the largest crypto exchange partnered with the Swiss bank in your pocket. And so these are the things we're doing, right? We have native support of the Binance chain. We have native support of the BEP2 protocol. We have supporting the Binance DEX. I think this is where I think CZ is amazing, and the Binance team is they're a centralized exchange, but at the same time, they're supporting the decentralized exchange as well, right? There's a custom Binance wallpaper. We're bundling the Trust wallet. And for a limited number of the Binance Edition Exodus 1 phones, you'll get $100 worth of BNB airdropped. And so this is our website, this is the Binance website, this is our Twitter. I'm gonna jump quickly into a quick demo of the device. So here, this is the Zion wallet. Okay, now you just saw the screen black out, right? It blacked out, but this is not blacked out here. It blacked out because it proves that that part of the system is separate from Android. Android does not have access. This is the part of the secure enclaves that's separate, right? That's not connected to the internet. And so here I'm gonna punch in my password. Well, first you can see there's, usually Android you can pull down. There's some pull-out levers. I'm punching my password, and then once, voila, we're in the Bitcoin wallet. Now, I'll just quickly show some features. This is, the usual Bitcoin, BNB kind of ETH. You can, of course, send and receive. You can, of course, like I said, you can pay for things. You can receive. These are the DeFi dApps that we've integrated with Uniswap, with Compound. Again, you can loan, you can borrow directly on the phone. We have collectibles, with the NFTs, with Decentraland, with CryptoKitties. But today, the demo I want to show you is, directly on the phone, you can go from fiat to crypto. And then you can, of course, go crypto to crypto. But today, I want to show you with the Binance DEX, right? You could choose the Binance DEX. Let's put 1,000. And directly, you can again, it blacked out because, again, it went into the secure enclave for me to sign a transaction, right? And so here, in a very secure way, I'm transacting on the Binance DEX in a secure manner where you own your private keys. Yeah, and I'll quickly show the fiat to crypto. Here, you can type in, I want 50 US dollars worth of Bitcoin. And directly on the phone, you put in your credit card or your bank card, they'll do the KYC, and you can sign a transaction. Again, it's gonna black out, and you punch in, or here, you can actually punch in some of your private information for KYC, but here you'll be able to buy Bitcoin directly. And so again, on the phone, you can buy, you can send, you can trade, you can lend, you can borrow, you can exchange. These are all the things you can do in a modern banking system. So the Binance Edition smartphone here, it will be on sale, I think, in 1 week. Next week, we'll launch it. It's going to be $599. And then for unlimited edition, CZ and the Binance team will airdrop $100 worth of BNB. So thank you. That's what I'm here today. So thank you, CZ.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Bill. Yeah, thank you. Are we giving 2 phones or no?
What's that?
Actually, I don't know the program.
Yeah. Well, what's next?
那个 All right, got it. Thanks, Bill. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, I apologize for the not understanding the program. So we will do the AMA now. So I'll answer any questions that's in the group. After the AMA, we will do a physical airdrop of 2 of those Binance HTC phones to the audiences, to 2 lucky winners here. So let's keep going with the questions.
I got a question here. Okay. We have a lot of questions for you, CZ.
Sure.
You ready for this? Okay.
Yeah.
The first one is raised from Dark Crypto Lord from Telegram group. Is there any plan to expand the development of Binance DEX? It feels like the focus has been shifting to Binance futures recently. Will there be more plans to promote the usage of Binance DEX to decentralize the future of crypto trading? Yeah.
Sure. Okay, that's a good question, actually. Number one, Binance DEX is a completely independent team to Binance Futures. There's 0 overlap, and the Binance DEX team is actually very decentralized. The Binance Futures team is very centralized. So there's two completely separate teams, and the one doesn't affect the other. We don't shift, like it's not one team. It's not like we're shifting resources around. I've been talking a little bit less about the DEX because there's just so many new things in Binance to promote, and I don't want to give like really mixed messages. I can't really promote 9 things at the same time, where I'm already having trouble just promoting 2. The Binance DEX is actually being very actively developed. They do a hard fork every month, so there's a hard upgrade every month. They released BEP3 about a month ago, and the BEP3 is really for the on-chain pegging of other crypto assets, including Ripple, Ethereum, any other crypto assets that's not even on Binance Chain. We can peg them onto Binance Chain now. So now Binance Chain can trade those kind of products, can trade those kind of coins. So it is also, there's actually a few key features that are developing right now, which will be very big hits. I think they're coming out. The DEX development takes a little bit longer, a little bit longer release cycles, monthly or so. So probably towards the end of the year, there's going to be some major features being released. So that's still being very actively worked on. But the fundamental fact is users vote with where they go, right? So right now, most people still choose to use a centralized exchange, and that is where I am spending a lot of my energy on. I am really a strong advocate for decentralized exchanges, but that's right now the users are voting for the centralized exchange, and we provide solutions that people use. So we follow where the user demands are. So that's kind of a short answer for that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the next is from IceG Good Life. Okay, well, the Binance Future platform offer BTC futures instead of USDT-based futures.
Yes, absolutely. That's a very simple question, to be honest. Yes, we will do that. The reason we went with BTC first is, of course, BTC has the highest trading volume and the highest liquidity. We started with 20x just to be safe, to make sure that we can do the system stable, we can do auto deleveraging, we can do liquidations without any issues. And so far, that has proven to be so. So that's why we increased the leverage, but we're also going to add multiple other contracts. And you can also use BNB as a collateral for other contracts. So I think that answers that. But I forgot to answer one thing about the decentralized exchange earlier. But I forgot what that part is. But let's go with the next question. I'll circle back to that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the next one is from Kim Yum. And there appears to be growing interest in crypto derivatives from traditional finance. What is the plan for Binance DEX?
For
Binance DEX?
Interested in what?
The growing interest in crypto derivatives from traditional finance. So what's the plan for Binance DEX?
Binance DEX is a platform we acquired, and I think Binance DEX or Binance Futures we will have multiple initiatives in the derivative space. So right now we're doing futures, and we're still ramping up the product offering. Right now, even though it's live, the product offering is still somewhat limited. But over time, we will add more contracts, add more features, and we will also be looking at other derivative products, namely options as probably the next obvious step. There is very high demand for it. We're seeing a lot of traditional financial traders move into our space, and they want this type of products to do hedging, to do insurance, etc. So Binance options we're looking at. So we will have a solution probably pretty soon, but probably not this year. Probably like sometime next year. Yeah.
Okay, so let's move to the next. It's from Andrew. Does Binance Chain plan to upgrade consensus algorithm more community-driven mechanism, for example, POS with fixed max staking, to let community drive the network?
Sure. So yes, the short answer is yes. There's a couple steps before that. Number one, right now the Binance Chain and Binance DEX source code is not fully open source. The source code is available among a limited number of developers. To be very honest, the main reason for that is we know that we have a few other centralized exchanges waiting to release their own blockchain, and we want them to actually do the work to develop their own blockchain instead of forking ours. I think forking ours helps, but it helps less. We actually want them to do the work. So when those exchanges release their own blockchains, we will open source ours. And once we open source it, there will be community contributions to it, and the consensus and the governance mechanisms will be somewhat readjusted for Binance Chain. Right now, it's 11 nodes that just vote, and that's it. We don't run all 11 nodes, but we have very close relationships with them, and we have a level of influence. But later on, we do want to fully decentralize that so that we are no longer that influential. Yeah.
Okay. So the next one is from KISNG, and that is about the fiat exchange. So what is something that we can expect from Binance Singapore other than just a fiat exchange?
I think I'm not sure what. That's a fairly open-ended question. It's kind of hard to answer. I think right now we are still just trying to grow and educate people in Singapore and grow the ecosystem here. So right now, I would say the short answer is probably no. We don't have a lot of specific additional fancy features or killer features for Binance Singapore. So it's just really making the experience really smooth, coming in coming in with fiat and going out with withdrawing fiat really smooth, and having the user onboarding experience very smooth, and also getting the regulators comfortable with us. They are now very comfortable. So it's just a matter of when you're running a fiat exchange, especially in a relatively heavily regulated established market in Singapore, it takes some time to sort of work with the regulators to get them comfortable with you and to have us prove our credibility. So those are the main goals for Singapore. So I wouldn't say there's any really fancy big features coming up anytime soon. But I do encourage everyone to try it. If there's any user experience related issues, we'll want to improve that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the next one is from William Chu. How can Binance be ahead of other competitors?
Again, that's a big question. So I think number one, you want to be lucky. But I think for an exchange, it's a really tough business to run. So there's two ways to look at it. Number one, it's really hard to run that business. There's just so many different things you got to get involved with. But at the same time, it's difficult for everybody. So if you do a good job on most fronts, then you will most likely people gravitate towards you. I think there's some really basic fundamental stuff like security and making sure that even if you suffer a security incident, none of your users lose funds. So those kind of credibility needs to be established through time. Usability, having a really fast product, having multiple access from multiple devices. I think before Binance, the device coverage for exchanges are quite poor. Many exchanges does not have a mobile app, etc. And having really good customer service is really key. I think, again, before Binance, there are many experiences with people using exchanges that submit a ticket that wait for a month. This is real money that they have on the exchange. And when they have some issue, they wait for a month for a reply. And we shortened that to 24 hours guaranteed, and we are trying to shorten that to 1 hour now. Or less. So we want to make the maximum time you wait an hour, 24 hours a day, anywhere in the world. So, and we want to be able to service you in your own language. So now Binance.com has have UIs, the product UI in about 16 languages, and the customer support in 4 languages. So we're constantly adding that. So all of this stuff is really, really small and minor, but it's bit by bit. You just gotta keep adding to it. So running an exchange right now is really, really difficult. We're also doing many other additional services. We do staking 100% free. So you put your coins on Binance, you get whatever coin that has support staking, you get the rewards. We don't charge for our efforts, for our costs. So all of this kind of things, we do airdrops, we support forks, all of this kind of things we tie together to keep the user on our platform. So if you can do all of those things, then then you will, in today's market, you will probably go win a lot of users to your platform. More on that, more fundamentally, I think there's a value system that we exhibit that many exchanges before us, or even today, do not exhibit. Our value system is we protect users. So it doesn't matter what happens, that's how we make decisions. Every decision we make, we ask, does this decision follow our philosophies? Do we protect our users? So we make a lot of decisions in that regard, and I think through time, your value is not something that you just say, but through time, people trust you. So all of those things are really, really hard to do. So, but yeah, in a sort of longish, shortish answer, that's kind of how we get ahead.
Okay, thank you. And here's the second question from King Yum, I guess.
Yeah.
So the real-world interest rates are nearly 0 right now, and today we can still lend crypto assets like BTC or BNB at a decent, attractive interest rate.
Yeah.
So do you see that lending opportunity in crypto converge to 0 when crypto become mature?
I don't think so, actually. I think the real-world interest rates are pretty high. The artificial interest rate controlled by the central banks are kept relatively low because they want to encourage spending. They don't want you to keep your savings in the bank. So I think that's artificial interference. The way we do lending, the Binance lending platform gets interest from the margin traders. So the margin traders borrow money to trade, because for them, when they trade, they can make very high returns, and they actually don't care about, they're very insensitive about the interest rates they pay. You charge them 5%, they trade. You charge them 7%, they trade. You charge them 9%, they still trade. So they're very insensitive. They're relatively insensitive. There's some sensitivity, but you go above 10, they start to whine. But so there's real income that we can generate by providing margin trading, and we can use that part of that income to pay for lending. So the Binance lending, the way it works, that the funds that you lend to the traders, because for margin we have risk management, the funds do not leave the platform, right? Everything's collateralized. Everything, like the traders are supposed to only lose what they have in their account. So if they borrow like 5x, if they lose 20% of the values in their portfolio, they get liquidated. We return the funds to the pool, and so it's actually a really, really secure way to do it. And it does, and we still make money doing that. There's still a spread on the interest rate. So the real-world interest rate is actually much higher. It's supposed to be much higher, but the banks keep it really low just because there's human intervention. So we're quite comfortable doing lending, and we don't think that the interest rate is near 0.
Okay. The next one is from Rafa. What's your opinion about the changes in China's policy towards crypto and blockchain?
Sure. I think that's a huge plus. The recent changes, well, it's kind of reflected in the price. If you check the BTC price, you can tell. But also I think people have not fully realized the significance of that impact. I think the previous panel here illustrated some of the points, but number one, China's a big country, right? So it has like probably close to a fifth or 1/6 of the population in the world. And China's also a fairly advanced economy now. It's not the most advanced economy, but it's like there's a lot of rich Chinese people have a lot of money. That's just a fact. So when a fairly rich country have such positive stance towards blockchain, towards this industry, that means not only this 1.4 billion people, they're going to influence other countries to adopt favorable regulations towards crypto now, towards blockchain. So now the other countries saying, look, China's adopted this stance. We got to follow. We can't really ban crypto now. So I think the other countries are going to have a really tough time banning crypto. So this is actually a big example that sets, and the rest of the world will follow. So it's not just 1.4 billion people. That's what I tweet, but it's actually 7 billion people is going to have a much favorable regulations towards crypto now. So now there's a race going on. So the impact of this is huge. So I think this is the point where I always knew that crypto is not going away, but this is the point where everybody else should know that crypto is not going away, and this industry is going to be big. So yeah, I think people still don't realize the full impact of it, but it's a hugely positive thing. Yeah. Let me grab the water.
Okay.
If you like our videos and want more information about cryptocurrency and new ICO, please subscribe our YouTube channel and press the bell icon. Thank you.